the host of the Gridiron.
All right, baby, welcome to the Gridiron. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. Now, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live, if I put a video out, you'll be notified, and it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel, in the description box below, very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And once again, thank you in advance. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, it's getting closer. They got 2 games left to go. And, whew, well, I'll tell you what. I can't wait for this season to be over. It's just 1 week after the other. Well, things are is that you can't tell that the coaches and the players and the organization, all that, they're going out there to win a football game, So the problem, the shame of it, at least for most of us anyway, is that the most, as the season's gone along, it's just been absolutely horrible. Lost 10 games in a row. So the only way for this to get even worse would obviously, these final couple of weeks would be to, they were to win a game, quite possibly, take us out of the quarterback market, if you will. If we don't win a game and slide down a few spots, 4 or 5 spots or so, and take us out of the quarterback market, there's obviously plenty good other players, but, it'd be interesting to see what the Giants were to do. Take a flyer on a quarterback in the second round, go out after one of those, bridge quarterbacks. I'll have to wait and see. But right here, as far as going forward, and, you got to agree with them, right? A lot of it all starts, this is with Dan Orlovsky, right? Like him, love him, leave him, whatever I want. One thing he came out under this article here, he talks about is he believes that obviously the key to fixing the Giants, obviously he did bring this up as well too, okay, was, they need a quarterback. But besides that, like if you look at the thumbnail right here, right, what we got going on here. I'm not talking about Tom Brady. What do we got here? The trenches, right? And when the Cowboys were really good, obviously, this, I mean, they're just, obviously Dak's not there, so that hurts them. But I mean, like with the Eagles, right? And once again, it's always a little difficult to sometimes include the Eagles sometimes because you look at it like they have. One of the best offensive line coaches in all of football, period. If they had one of our coaches or one of the coaches, Bobby Johnson or something like that, how would their offensive line be? They've spent some good premium, right? Some good draft capital on offensive line, and they've gotten good return out of it. Jason Kelsey, right? Was a later round pick. Obviously, he's not on the team anymore. But I mean, they've gotten lucky because Mekhi Becton is staying healthy. Right. One thing he couldn't do when he was with the Jets. And I said, I don't know if it's because he's playing on grass now instead of the turf. Don't know. But he's performing very well. But that's also because they have a good offensive line coach. Very good offensive line coach. But I mean, you got to remember a lot of times also one of the biggest problems we had, like with the Cowboys and with the Eagles, was the trenches. Right? We did not control the trenches, plain and simple. What, you go back to '86, right? We didn't have Benson, Hart, Oates, Godfrey, and Nelson. Boom, there's your Fab Five. And obviously the other one, of course, you want to put the tight end in there, of course, would be Bavaro. But, nobody super sexy, nobody, I mean, they just got the job done. But, they were able to control the trenches, right? And obviously, of course, our defensive front, obviously with Lawrence Taylor, we were just able to control, I mean, you got the two bookends. You got Carl Banks on one side, Lawrence Taylor on the other. Now, whether you had Burt in the middle or you had Howard in the middle, right? But you had George Martin, you had Leonard Marshall, so we had, the trenches. It all starts in the trenches. If you can win the trenches, right, you can do a lot of things. Now, a little bit before I read this article, I just want a little bit is that with the Colts coming up this weekend, I think I heard Anthony Richardson threw the ball like 13 times last week or something like that. Didn't get a lot of yards, but their running back ran for over 200 yards, so they can control the trenches. So this is going to be a tough one. I mean, we're not sure what the scumbag Eagles are going to do for the final game of the week. If they're going to, if they have everything wrapped up, the number one, if they win the division and all that stuff. If they can't move up or down in the playoffs, we're not exactly sure what they're going to do, especially with Saquon. I mean, because see, Sirianni's just a straight up scumbag. So you're not sure what the guy who'll get more jollies from running up the score against the Giants and getting Saquon about 900 yards rushing in this particular game. See how many touchdowns he can get against the Giants, or benching his whole team and putting the 39 stringers in there, and hopefully the Giants win the football game so the Giants slide out of the quarterback market. So you're not exactly sure how scumbag Sirianni is going to play the game. But, I mean, there's a good chance the Giants might face a couple. I mean, obviously, you go back in just a couple of weeks, right? We had to play the Ravens, right? So we had some really, really, so we had to play Saquon again. So the Giants, went up against some really good running backs this season, right? Every now and then we had a good game against in the run defense, but for the most part, it's not been very pretty. I'm sure a lot of it has to do also with sexy, but you'll notice, I mean, remember in the beginning, our defensive, I mean, we were leading the league in sacks. I'm like, man, geez, wow, we're good. Of course, obviously with sexy hurt, but I mean, you don't hear us getting sacks anymore, right? I mean, control the offensive line, defensive line, whatever, you can control the game. So it all starts in the trenches, right? And so Dan Orlovsky brought up this article here. He brings up, and it's a good one. It's a good point. He also said, once again, he also talks about the fact that the Giants do need a quarterback. But, I mean, it's hard just to say, draft some offensive linemen and you're good to go. I mean, but we've been drafting offensive linemen and we've not been good to go on the offensive line, right? Obviously with Evan Neal, John Michael Schmitz is, for second round center has been, he's had some good points, had some good days and all that, but he's had some issues as well. Zudu, McKeithen, it's just not like just draft some centers and put them in there and you're good to go. Or draft some offensive linemen, we're good to go. It's a little bit more than that. So Dan Orlovsky has to say here. All right. One key to fixing the Giants. The Giants' woes would be Dan Orlovsky hits the nail on the head regarding New York Giants' biggest problem in recent years. I mean, obviously also that, I mean, you start thinking about it, right, is that, if we were able to control the offensive line, what if Saquon might have done, right? For us. I mean, look what he's doing with the Eagles, right? So as good and as productive as Saquon had been for the Giants, he could have obviously been even that much better if we had an offensive line. So maybe Dave Gettleman wasn't off too far. Just our problem, just not being able to fix the offensive line, made things even worse, right? If the Giants aspire to become a powerhouse football team like they were for most of Tom Coughlin's era, it's important that they focus on one area in particular to make that happen: the trenches. This is another one of the reasons why I would absolutely love to see. Whether the Giant, obviously, if you're drafting somebody, you just can't. Oh, in the second round we're going to take a defensive tackle, and then in the third round you can't do that. You can't be reaching, can't be grabbing. Right? You got to have to. The guy, if as of right now, second round we're picking 33rd. Right? So there has to be a defensive tackle worthy of the 33rd pick. But as I said, I'm kind of hoping, that they get themselves a defensive tackle to put next to Sexy Dexy to shore up, hopefully shore up that defensive front a little bit better, right? Let's not get a defensive tackle to draft a nice low guy in the low rounds to put next to Sexy when Sexy's in his 17th season in the NFL and he's on his way to retirement. Let's not do that. Right, let's get him when Sexy's at the peak. Because he's going to start leveling off. Right, because next season is going to be his 7th season in the NFL. Now, one of the nicest things, maybe the best things that happened to him this season in a lost season was he got hurt because now he has less. Where he has less tread taken off of his tires. So next season he shall have more tread left on his tires because he didn't spend the last, and I'm an idiot, I can't remember exactly how many games he missed, but he missed a large chunk of this season. So his body, the wear and tear on his body won't be there. He's going to fix his elbow. Next season rolls around, hopefully he'll be good. You still always have to watch his snap count. The guy just can't. All right, Dexter, you're going to play 100% of the snaps. Go get him, Tiger. No, that's not the way it happens. So you have to, not modify, but keep an eye on his snap count and all and everything. You got to give him those veteran rest days and all that, which Dable does, which is really a fantastic idea. But we need to get let's get somebody in there like Leonard Williams. We had the one season where we had Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams. When we first got Leonard Williams from Gettleman, right? We had Dalvin Tomlinson, we had Gettleman, and we had Sexy Dexy. Now, of course, Sexy was not as good then as he was now. A lot of that might also have to do with the Godfather, right? A defensive line coach helping Sexy out, right? But that was one of the last times that kind of, we did pretty well against the run. Our run defense wasn't too bad. Now, Dalvin Tomlinson was not going to get you 10 sacks, but he was good against the run. Sexy Dexy, is good at consuming blocks, and we got Leonard Williams in it too. So that 1 year, it was 2020. Because we got Dalvin in 17, I believe it was, so 17, 18, yeah. So 2020, that one particular year when we had those guys on the front wall there, our run defense was not too bad. Right? So it just, unfortunately, our coaching was bad, because we had Judge there. Such is the opinion of the ESPN analyst Dan Orlovsky, who told Kevin Clark that the Giants' shift away from building up the offensive and defensive lines has not helped the team break free from the doldrums since they last won a Super Bowl in 2011. At the end of the day, you have completely lost sight of organizationally who you've been, Orlovsky said, acknowledging that the Giants also need to find a franchise quarterback. I remember watching the Giants as a kid. The name that constantly comes to mind is Rodney Hampton, and I remember their ability to run the football. And remember, every year, Rodney had 1,000 yards every year. 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards every year. The name that comes to mind is Brandon Jacobs for me, those guys, and defensive ends Justin Tuck and OCU Manure. So I just think that to fix the Giants, they have to rebuild the lines of scrimmage. Orlovsky is spot on with his take. Under general manager Joe Shane, the Giants have moved away from building from the inside out via the draft and have emphasized drafting skill position players whose success often heavily depends on the guys in the trenches. From an offensive line perspective, Shane, who didn't draft a single player from the trenches on either side of the ball this past draft, has selected 4 offensive linemen. Now he didn't draft, that's true, but you gotta admit the guys he did draft, he did a very good job of it, very good job. But the 4 offensive linemen he has drafted were John Michael Schmitz, Evan Neal, Azudu, and McKeithen. Right? Those 4, Schmitz, who hasn't quite blown anyone's doors off, no, he's not, seems to be the most stable of the group in terms of having a starting job, which is true. McKeithen is no longer with the team, and Azudu and Neal are trending in the wrong direction. Defensively, it's been worse. The Giants have drafted 2 down linemen, DJ Davidson and Jordan Riley. While Davidson got some starting snaps this year, Riley was a healthy scratch earlier in the year until injuries opened the way for him to contribute. Giants have instead tried going the veteran route to address both sides of their trenches, having signed John Runyon Jr., Jermaine Illuminor, Greg Van Roten, Aaron Stinney, Austin Schlotman, however you want to pronounce it. They signed Nacho, Armin Watts as veteran options on the defensive side. The veteran route, however, has not always been fruitful. The Giants' offensive line, which started in the middle of the pack for the first few weeks of the season until injuries started to rip the unit apart, is currently ranked 24th according to Pro Football Network. The site also notes that the line's pressure rate against the blitz is 26th, and the pressure rate against 4 rushes or fewer ranks 29th, which is horrible. During the 2004 to 2011 seasons, when one could say that the Giants last had solid trench warriors on either side of the ball, the Giants made 5 postseason appearances, winning 2 Super Bowls. They have also finished first in the division in 3 of those seasons. They also had their franchise quarterback, but you also notice kind of what he was talking about is after that was over, once the offensive line started getting old and some of the guys started retiring and everything, even the fact that we had Eli, it made it very difficult. We didn't win the division. We went to the playoff one time with Eli after the 2011 Super Bowl. Right? Giants' recent approach toward building the trenches has contributed partly to the team's downfall, and Orlovsky believes has caused the franchise to lose sight of its identity. I think the Giants lost sight of what made them the Giants and what was their calling card when they actually were a good football team. And they would go on some of those runs. They could control football games on both sides of the ball, which is huge. Yes, you got to get yourself a quarterback, but you have to rebuild your line. I remember David Deal and Chris Snee, and that's why they were at their best. They don't have those guys anymore. So we could talk about all the pretty pieces, but the Giants organizationally should be in a line of scrimmage organization, and they haven't been, which is true. A lot of one of the things is that, has happened, especially like with the Eagles. I mean, you just look at the Eagle, you just beat this year in and year out. And, one of the constant things is that they have control of the line of scrimmage. Right? But whatever it was a couple of years ago when they had 17,000 sacks, they had 4 or 5 guys that had multiple digit sacks. I mean, they were bringing guys in off the bleachers, out of the seats. The guys had double digit sacks. It was just crazy. So we had a hard time stopping them on defense because of the pressure they could cause on the defensive side of the ball. Then, of course, look what they're doing with Saquon Barkley, right? And the control on the offensive line, right? And Saquon's having the best year of his career, right? And I said, like with the Cowboys, I remember all those years, and they had that good, that maybe the best. They were always the top 2 or 3 offensive lines in football, right? They're not that anymore. And, the record's really showing it. But also on the defensive side of the ball. Remember when we lost 40-0 to them opening day last season. Right? I mean, how many sacks they had? It was one of the, I can't remember what the Cowboys' name was, but yeah, it was true. There was a camera behind the Cowboys bench, and it was toward the end of the game. And one guy, I said, I can't remember the Cowboy who it was, but he was pointing to his friends. It was like the Oprah Winfrey Show. And you get a sack, and you get a sack, and you get a sack. And I get everybody gets it. It was true. Daniel Jones went back to pass, and as he's dropping back to pass, there's like 13 guys on top of him. How are you supposed to win a football game that way? You can't. So, I mean, Dan Orlovsky is, I mean, as I said, you draft banks, right? You get, obviously Malik Neighbors and all. Now, Shane and Dable and all that, whatever. They did try their first year. Now, obviously, trenches, right? Kayvon and Neal. You kind of hoping that, I mean, Kayvon obviously is not a total bust, obviously. He's had some nice moments and all, but his pick 5, you would kind of hope get a little more results out of him. Sometimes you'd like to see him take over some games and stuff. And he's had a moment here or there where he's had some very nice games, but for me, they're very few and far between. Right. And of course, Evan Neal, pick number 7. Oh my God. So they did try in the trenches, right? I mean, these past couple drafts are the pretty stuff. I mean, you need a cornerback, right? We got ourselves a wide receiver, obviously Malik Neighbors. But we it all starts in the trenches. Really starts in the trenches. So he's spot on. So it'll be interesting to see what the Giants do, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And on the defensive side, to help shore up that run defense. Because, boy, I tell you what, it's very embarrassing. And the other team could just run at will on you. Really, really embarrassing. It really is. So, all right, next, I got this one. Of course, you're talking New York Football Giants. You're talking another lengthy injury list for Week 17. Hard to believe, isn't it? But the Giants and of course, Mr. Malik here. He's been he was talking to some reporters. I believe it was obviously not today because it's 1:30 in the morning on a Friday. So I guess it was Thursday. I guess they're talking about he's like a game time decision, whether he goes or not. Now I believe he has I think on the list. I think it says a toe. So that's like a new one. So it's like every other week or so, he has a different injury. So, I mean, the guy goes out there and balls. I'm just sometimes like a little lost for words. For sometimes, I don't know. I don't. Got other good wide receivers for other teams can go out and play. I'm not trying to down. It's just like I don't. How can every week is a different injury? It just, of course, when we had to put Raheem Lane on the injured reserve for the end of his season's over with. It's not one thing, it's another, right? With the New York Football Giants. Week 17 injury report. Another lengthy one. Yep, you got that right. What do we got here? Let's see. Here we go. Thursday's New York Giants injury report and roster moves. Okay, here we go. So December 26th, the injury report. So Tyrone Tracy's got an ankle, but he's had that for a little bit of time. Malik Neighbors with a toe. I'm not sure I don't know if that just popped up after we got done playing Atlanta. I don't know. I mean, he's had a hip, he's had a groin, he's had a concussion, he has a toe. John Michael Schmitz, he's got an ankle. Micah McFadden with his neck. Greg Stroman with a shoulder and a shin. D. Williams he's got a toe. And Raheem Lane. Well, Raheem Lane tore his meniscus. And let's see. Got this. His season's. Whoops. Let's see. It was announced, obviously, Christmas Eve that Lane would miss the remainder of the season after suffering a torn meniscus in their loss to the Falcons. So, unfortunately, Raheem Lane's contributions to the Giants have been cut short due to injury. Then we got Drew Lock. Obviously he's got his right shoulder, his throwing shoulder. They had an MRI done on that, and it came back negative, so that's a good thing. Jermaine Illuminor, he's got a wrist. Offensive guard and offensive center Greg Van Roten, he's got a knee. Corey Durden's got a shoulder. Those guys were limited in practice. So Tracy, Neighbors, Schmitz, Micah McFadden, Greg Stroman, D. Williams, they did not practice on Thursday, and then they said they have Raheem Lane here, but apparently his season's over with. He's one of. I'm going to do a video on this. He's one of the 28 guys that have been put on IR for the Giants this season. Over half of football teams have been put on IR for the New York Football Giants. It's absolutely freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's see. Austin Schlottman had a fibula. Aaron Stinney with a concussion. Jordan Riley with a knee. Armin Watts with a shoulder. Drew Phillips with a knee. And Dane Belton with a knee. They all fully practiced, but they had some type of injury designation, but they all fully practiced. But and once again, you look how many guys are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I won't put Lane in there because he's on IR. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 guys on the list once again. Absolutely amazing. Let's see. On Tuesday, the Giants designated Watts for return from injured reserve. The team placed him on injured reserve in late November with a shoulder injury. On Tuesday, the Giants activated Deontay Johnson from the injured reserve. Johnson was placed on IR in late August with an ankle injury. To make room for Johnson, the Giants waived defensive tackle Casey Rogers, who was then re-signed to the practice squad on Thursday. On Monday, the Giants signed offensive tackle Ricky Lee to the practice squad. 25-year-old, 6'5", 289-pound Lee was originally signed by the Carolina Panthers as an undrafted rookie free agent after the 2023 NFL Draft. He spent time with the Panthers, the Vikings, the Browns, the Arlington Renegades. Ooh. Lee played in 6 games with the Panthers in 2023 exclusively on special teams. Offensive tackle, 6'5", no complaints there, 289 pounds. Wow. Now, if you're going back 50 years ago, that is an amazing human specimen. 6'5", almost 290 deep offensive tackle. Whoa, now we're talking. Here we are, fast forward 50, 60 years later, 6'5", 289-pound deep offensive tackle. Whew, that's a light dude right there. That is a light guy. On Thursday, the Giants re-signed Alex Cook to the practice squad. Cook had been signed off of the Giants practice squad by the Panthers in October. The Panthers waived him earlier this month. On Tuesday, the Arizona Cardinals signed Benton Whitley off of the Giants practice squad. So the thing is with Benton Whitley is that, the team, it's good for him. Good for him. If the Cardinals take Benton Whitley off of our practice squad, they have to put him on their 53-man roster. So that's the one nice thing about that. When a team plucks another team off the practice squad, they just can't throw him on their practice squad. Oh, we like him. We'll put him on our practice. No, you have to put him on your 53. Because I'm an idiot, I can't remember it. He has to be there for 2 or 3 games. You have to give him 2 or 3 game checks. You don't have to have him for the rest of the season on your roster, obviously, but he has to be on your 53-man roster. Now, because you put him on your 53 does not mean you got to dress him. Obviously, guys are out of the 53, you don't dress all 53 for the football game. So just because you put him on the 53 doesn't mean he's going to be play and see action for you, right? But you do have to give him game checks. So that means that ups his salary a significant amount. Right? It's that for being on the practice squad. So once again, another lengthy injury list for the New York Giants. I said the thing I'm really dying to say, right, is after this week's over, right? How do the Giants go about doing it, right? I mean, obviously, because with this game here coming up, the coaches, the players, everybody, is win. Ain't nobody, because you're writing your resume every game that you're in there. And look at Drew Lock, right? I mean, this was Bob Papa brought this up. He was talking about what Carl Banks believe in Giants, I believe it's called. But with Drew Lock, I mean, Drew Lock is fighting for a job. Do you want him to just keep throwing pick sixes? I mean, is that what he wants? I mean, because after the season's over with, the Giants have no quarterback signed for next year. Drew Lock got to be looking for a job. Now, obviously the way things are going, nobody's probably going to give him a starting job. But, if his name's out there, it's like, well, let's bring him in, and maybe he can be our backup quarterback. But Drew Lock's going to want to put some good stuff out there, right? So if he does get signed, and when he does get signed, he gets more than 42 cents a week. He's going to want to make something, right? So the better he plays, even if the Giants don't bring him back, one of those other teams out there who needs a backup quarterback will sign him, bring him in, and pay him. So they're all fighting. Everybody's fighting for their lives, for their jobs, and all. And nobody's interested in tanking, right? So, but after this week is over, whether the Giants win or lose, that's going to be very, very interesting to see what transpires with the Eagles. Right. I'm sure, if the Eagles have everything wrapped up, I said it can be interesting to see how low do they go, because, obviously if the Giants can, obviously, right, have finish the season. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm saying that the Giants would have finished the season with back-to-back wins, and you actually get 4 wins. Woo. We'll go from number 1 to number 10? Because there's a lot of teams that have 3 and 4 losses. I mean, with the Giants' strength of schedule, we would probably, as of right now, if we would have 4 wins as of right now, with our strength of schedule, we might even fall out of the top 10. Obviously, you can kiss all these quarterbacks goodbye. It could be a good thing because there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that Ward and Sanders are going to be the real deal. We can draft Sanders with number 1 overall. 2-3 years from now, it'd be like, yeah, he really wasn't the quarterback, Just because you draft the quarterback number 1 does not mean he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Right? Some of them just don't work out. Others maybe need the right system. I mean, look at Sam Darnold, right? Didn't work out in Carolina. Didn't work out with the Jets, but man, he looks like Joe Montana, doesn't he, with the Vikings, right? So maybe some of it's the right system and all that. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, and then we got, I did see this here. Now, with, undrafted, right? Rookie free agents and all that. Jake Kubas. He has some stuff to work on. He has some stuff to work on. But one of the got an article here, right, going over him, talking about him, that he does one thing very, very well, right? But he does have some stuff to work on, right? I mean, if the Giants maybe might want to think about keeping him around, maybe as a backup or anything like that. But he has something going for him. I gotta find him here. There we go. All right. Giants undrafted free agent inside offensive line, Jake Kubas. He's turning heads. Jake Kubas does one thing extremely well, which makes him a good fit for the Giants offense. Sometimes when an undrafted rookie free agent gets to the NFL, it can take a while before things start to fall into place. But with a little bit of patience and a lot of hard work, eventually opportunities present themselves that, if the player takes advantage of them, can lead to even more. Just ask the Giants rookie offensive lineman Jake Kubas about that. Kubas, who played his college ball at North Dakota State, which is, obviously, not the upper tier of schools, but they have a very good program. Right? He's 6'4", 308-pound offensive lineman who took advantage of every extra year of eligibility thanks to COVID, right? He was able to fine-tune his craft in college. In doing so, Kubas earned several postseason honors, including being named to the 2023 Stats Perform FCS All-American First Team, the 2023 Phil Steele FCS All-American Second Team, the 2023 FCS Football Central All-American Second Team, and the 2023 AP FCS All-American Third Team. 90% of these awards, I wasn't even aware they were even around. So I know the Heisman Trophy, I know certain the Blitnikoff and all that stuff and everything, but a lot of these I just don't know about. In allowing just 23 pressures in 1,010 career pass blocking snaps in college for the Bisons, Kubas' performance in 2023 was good enough to earn him one of Pro Football Focus's top rankings for the 2024 draft eligible guards, 79.5, which put him 23rd among 100 draftable guards in the FCS. Now, but you also have to remember too, right? I mean, one thing you want to do is when you're playing at the lower tier of talent, right, is you need to dominate, right? To shine above the rest, right? And he did a very good job. Let's see. Despite all of that, Kubas still went undrafted, needing to prove he was worth a roster spot and could be an asset to an NFL team. He's done that with the Giants, who liked him enough to give him a $30,000 signing bonus. Inactive for 11 of the first 12 games of the season, he was active for the Week 7 game against the Eagles, but did not play. Kubas finally saw his first NFL action on offense in Week 14 against the Saints, a game in which he allowed 2 pressures and 26 pass blocking snaps. So that's his Achilles heel. But since then, and with injuries piling up, shocker there, Kubas, who got his first career start last week against the Falcons when he stepped in for Aaron Stinney, who had a concussion at left guard, has gotten better with each round of opportunities he's received. In last week's game, Kubas allowed just 1 pressure, finishing as the Giants' top-graded offensive lineman and their 3rd highest-graded player on offense in the loss. I'm going to go over grades in just a few minutes here. Jake was a bright spot for me, said Giants assistant head coach, offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka. I think seeing a young guy step in, he played physical. Sure, there were things he could get better at, plays that maybe he missed here or there, but overall, I thought it was a big step forward for him. One of the feathers in Kubas' cap is his athleticism, where he was regularly getting out in front of a handful of screen passes, looking extremely comfortable moving in the open field and always finding the right man to block. Kubas' ability as a pulling movement guard could potentially open up additional offensive options for the Giants if they continue to deploy him in that way. Kubas, who initially struggled with Atlanta's stunts, improved later in the game, both recognizing and reacting to them. He also didn't have any trouble identifying who to run block, though. Not exactly being a road grader, he didn't get much movement on his run blocks. But, I'm going to go over this here. That said, Kubas wasn't overpowered and showed the kind of hustle coaches like. With an offseason NFL weight training program, right? Kubas should be able to address any concerns with his strength and power, which would enable him to better hold up against the bigger, more athletic, and more powerful defensive lineman he will face if he becomes a regular NFL starter. Now I want to go over, all right, Jake Kubas. Now he has, right, all right, he's played in the past 3 weeks, although the one game he played in weeks 14, 15, and 16. Week 14 against the Saints, he was in played right guard. He was in there for 29 overall snaps. Against Baltimore, he was in there for 1 snap at left tackle. So maybe that was a jumbo package. He was in there. So, but against Atlanta, he was in there for 58 snaps. He was the starting left guard for 58 snaps. Now, with that said, so I'm going to kind of, not worry about the Baltimore games. Once again, 1 snap. But against the Saints in week 14, he was in there for a grand total of 29 snaps, 26 pass blocking snaps, 3 run blocking. His pass blocking was not super spectacular. He graded out PFF. That's all I'm going by here. Okay. Against the Saints, he graded out pass blocking 46.3. His run blocking, though, he had 3 run blocking snaps against the Saints, but his run blocking was an 82.5. Against the Falcons this past week, 58 total snaps, 44 pass blocking snaps. He's graded out at 39.1. Once again, this is strictly PFF. I'm going by. That was his pass blocking. His run blocking was a 76.7. He had 14 run blocking snaps this past week against the Falcons. His run blocking for the season, PFF gave him an 89.6 for his run blocking. His offensive grade, between his pass blocking and run blocking, overall is a 73.7. It's just his pass blocking. His pass blocking grade is a 40. Let me see here. Offense. Let's do pass blocking here. Okay, good. Excellent. All right, so let's see here. So, what do we got? Pass blocking. All right, he's had 70 pass blocking snaps. He's given up 3 hurries. He's given up no sacks, no hits, but he's given up 3 hurries. So out of 70 pass blocks, that means basically out of about 100 pass blocking snaps, he would give up about 4 pressures. So, does not translate. As I said, his pass block grades are 40. So, he's inside 6'4". He's got the height. Needs some more strength. If he could put on like 10, 15 pounds of muscle, that would be huge. The one thing is you have to be careful of, obviously, is when you start putting on too much muscle, right? Too much size and too much muscle. Does that slow you down? Now, they said in the running game, right, where he's able to pull and everything is athleticism, right? Maybe because he's, more flexible, lighter on his feet. That might help. Once you it's like same thing like with maybe like a Jalen Hyatt, right? He was talking about, I want to put on a little bit of weight. I want to get stronger in this stuff and everything. Well, one of his things is speed. And if you start putting on extra weight and all that, that might slow you down. So you got to be a little careful there. But I'm sure Kubas could certainly use to put on a little bit of weight and get a little bit stronger. So as I said, this is just his first season, right? He's got hopefully a nice long career in front of him. Now, he did very well at North Dakota State. Let's see, maybe we can work on and build on what we got here. So keep an eye. Make sure you remember that name. Hopefully, maybe Jake Kubas. Hopefully, we'll have him back again next year, right? And if nothing else, right, maybe he can certainly be a solid depth piece for the New York Football Giants going forward. Because you see, once the offensive line just seems like almost every year, once it starts getting like decimated, you start bringing in these other guys. There's no continuity there, which hurts as well too. But it just seems like inevitable. Like you should start bringing these guys, these backup guys in there, and they're nowhere near what the starters were, and the performance goes down. So make sure you remember, keep an eye out for Jay Kubas next year. Let's see. Hopefully we wind up bringing him back. The one nice thing he did have an extra year of eligibility in college, so he is. Man, they don't even have his. They don't have his date of birth here. So, but anyway, he's got to be young, right? He's got a lot of tread left on his tires. And the nice thing about him, undrafted free agent. So he was gave him a 30. What we do with 30,000 in today's NFL, you're going back to the 60s, a $30,000 signing bonus would be something pretty special. Nowadays, that's not much, but he's cheap, very, very cheap. So that's good. And you always need those cheap players to fill out your roster. So keep your eye out and all that and everything for Mr. Kubas for next season, because the Giants always need quality offensive line players. All right, so now we go to a portion of our program here, where I usually try to do this every week. Just go over the grades for the. I gotta move my feet. Oh, so, hold on, buddy. Oh, my dog's laying on my feet. He's trying to. Oh, there we go. I just got to stretch my legs. Oh, he's still snoring, so I didn't wake him up. But try to go over the team grades, the team and player grades, and all that from the week before. Yeah. But it goes to show you, I'm going to show you the team grades here, right? And even the Falcons is kind of, whatever you want to say, is they don't have a super spectacular record, but according to PFF, anyway, they're up there. I mean, as far as overall team grades, I mean, the PFF gives them some love, that is for sure. So let me, all right, I got to share screen. Once again, I got 37,000 tabs open up here, so I got to find it here. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so we got, now if you look here, right, where we at? Atlanta, 8-7. PFF has them at a 91.2 overall team grade, and they're 8-7. Their team grade is ranked higher than the Chiefs. Of course, if the Falcons maybe had Patrick Mahomes, their record would be a lot better than 8-7. But so somehow their overall team grade, the Falcons, is a 91.2, and they're only 8-7. So, but where did the Giants land? Let's go down to the bottom. They're number 29, 66.9. So. All right, offensive grades. Let's see who's got the best. I think it's the Lions. Oh, the Ravens. Oh, Ravens. That's. I guess that's understandable. The Ravens are 88.9. The Lions are 86.1. The Falcons offensive grade 85.1. Very, very impressive. All right, where did the Giants land at here? Let's go down toward the bottom. Number 29. The Giants overall offensive grade is a 64. I mean, you see it right here. We scored 215 points so far this year, giving up 362. I mean, you look. I mean, nobody's even close to us as far as futility, as far as scoring points or lack thereof. I mean, the Browns got 245. There's no other 264. I mean, there's nobody even close to what the Giants, as putrid as the Giants are. I mean, you look. I mean, the Giants have 215. Look at the Bengals. The Bengals have 423. The Bengals have scored almost twice as many points as the Giants have. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Just every year. You can't score any points. Every year. All right, passing grade here. What do we got here? Ravens, 91.8. Of course, then the Bengals, 91.2. Which obviously is one of the reasons why. I mean, look at the Commanders. I mean, they scored more than twice as many points as the Giants have. Right, we're 215. They're at 432. Twice as many points. All right, the Giants, let's see. So the Giants' passing grade is, we're number 31. There you go. All right, 56.8. I guess a bunch of pick sixes will do that to you, right? Pass blocking, the Broncos, number 1. Of course, this is one of the best friends a rookie quarterback could have, right? 82.1, a pass blocking rate for the Broncos. One of the reasons why that they are where they are at 96. So pass blocking, where are the Giants at here? Let's scroll down to the bottom. There we go. We're number 27, 57.6. Number 27, the Giants' overall pass blocking grade. Receiving grade. Ravens number 1, 87.5. Let's go down here to Giants. Once again, toward the bottom. We're number 31. Once again, there you go. 65.1. Our receiving grade is only better than the Panthers, who are 62.1. Jeez. All right, running grade. The Buffalo Bills, 92.6. Now, a lot of that's got to do with their quarterback, obviously. It's not like they have some unbelievably phenomenal, fantastic running game, right? A lot of that's got to do with Josh Allen. Of course, with the Ravens, a lot of that's got to do with their quarterback as well, too, right? But they do have Derrick Henry, right? All right, so running. Where are we at here? Running grade. The Giants are number 20. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 75.8 running grade. Run blocking. 49ers. See the Falcons. They're up there. Right? 79.9. So the Giants run blocking grade. We're number 21. 2, 3, 4. 62.3. Defensive. So you'll notice here with the run blocking grade, right? Right. See, when you have really, really good players, right? Like Lamar Jackson, say the run blocking. See, the Ravens run blocking is 63.2. So obviously their blocking is not, according to PFF, it's not as good as it could be. But when you got Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, right, that kind of over, right, kind of hides some of the deficiencies that they might have on their run blocking. All right, so we got that. Let's go to the defensive side here, right? Eagles number 1, 88.9. Right, the Giants. All right, Giants defense, 65.1. We're number 22 overall. Run defense, Browns number 1, 83. Giants run defense is number 21. 62.8. This next one, as you say, is going to be the tackling. The Giants tackling is, for the most part, this season has been very, very bad. The Lions are number 1, 71.4. If you saw the Chiefs, right, on Christmas Day, they're a very good tackling team. The Patriots this season, they can't win any football games, but they've been a very good tackling team. But so the Giants, obviously, as we scroll all the way down to the bottom here, the Giants, that's there, number 24, 41.1. I'm saying, look how many teams tackling grades. They got one that almost half the league is graded in the 40 as far as tackling. Absolutely putrid. Horrible, horrible, horrible tackling grades by the entire NFL for the most part. But you'll know, as I said, if you saw that game, right, against the Steelers, the Chiefs did a very good job of tackling, which is huge. You have an opportunity to bring the man down, you bring him down. It's huge. Pass rush, the Giants have been good all season with this. The Steelers number 1, 90.5. The Giants are 73. This is our highest grade, number 9. Now, of course, we were leading the league in sacks and this, that, and the other thing and everything, and just now we can't even get a sack. But, of course, sexy's not in there, but it's just... Anyway, coverage grade. The Eagles, number 1, 91.1. All right, and we got, let's see, so the Giants coverage is way down here. Number 27, 52.8. And last but not least, special teams. The Patriots, 90.6. The Giants special teams are, let's see, number 23, 75.8 overall. So, I mean, the Giants, obviously have a You know, a few good grades sprinkled in here and there, but for the most part, it is what it is. I mean, I said their tackling has just been really, really bad all season long. Now you don't know. Obviously, sometimes with the tackling, once it starts getting toward the end of the season, well, we've only won 2 games. I'm not going in there. I'm not getting hurt. Some of these guys pack it in. Not saying many or anything like that, but is there anybody out there may not be packing? It might have packed it in already. I don't want to get hurt. I'm not on this team next year. I'm looking to try to stay healthy. But I mean, things like that do happen. But I mean, all right. So now let's go to I gotta find it here. All right. Offensive grades after the Week 16 loss to the Falcons. Once again, see who panned out for the Giants, who played well, and according to PFF, that's all this is. It's all strictly PFF. That's all it is. So let us go here. 6. All right. Let's see. Share my screen once again. I will go to the offensive side here. Go to the game report here. Go to the offensive side. Okay, here we go. Chris Mainhart's top in the list. It was in it for 16 snaps. So Chris Mainhart's graded at 84.1. Then you got Malik Neighbors, right? Was in there for 52 snaps. 75.6. Jake Kubas, there you go. Right? Even though he 39.1 on his 44 pass blocking snaps, but he graded out a 67.2. So our left guard, right, undrafted rookie free agent, left guard, right, graded out 67.2. Right? So, these are unfortunate, but it's all far too often, shall I say. This is what we got. This is what we're looking at the end of the season. Oh, who had a good game? Not that did we win a game or this or that. It's like, what to be excited about next year, right? Unfortunately. So, as I said, once again, keep an eye out for Jake Kubas, right? I mean, I said, if he doesn't wind up winning the left guard, he's not going to because we got running there, right? But can he maybe take over the? It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Neal. I would love to see them try to put Evan Neal in at guard. Jesus Christmas. Put the guy, No, we're keeping him at tackle. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, how's it working out for you? Right? Where is Evan Neal? Oh, yeah, Evan Neal down here, number 17. How's that working out for you? 50.6. Now, once again, his pass blocking, 37.2 at tackle. 72.5 run blocking grade, right? Has a hard time with the guys on the edge. Put the guy in at guard. I mean, ugh. All right, but it'll be interesting because we have a Luminor, I believe, for next season. I believe, but we don't have Greg Van Roten. Do we have a Luminor? I know we signed. We just signed it for 1 year. Oh, let me see. Sure. Main Loom. There we go. Professional career. Let's see here. They signed a 2-year deal with the Giants. Yeah, so we got him for next year, right? So, if Illuminor is going to be your right tackle, we got Andrew Thomas at left tackle, Illuminor is your right tackle. Let's put Evan Neal in at guard. Huh? Can we do that? Is that too much to ask? But I said, but once again, keep an eye on Kubas, right? Right? If nothing worse, it looks. I mean, at least as far as with this game here, it'd be interesting to see, right? He might be in there again, maybe. against the Colts this week. Let's see how well he does, right? So moving on, Wan'Dale Robinson, 54 snaps. He graded out a 66.4. Tyrone Tracy, he was in there for 36 snaps, 63.8. Devin Singletary, 13 snaps, 63.5. Jermaine Illuminor, speaking of, right? The left tackle, 58 snaps, 61.9. Joshua Zudo, I guess this must have been like a jumbo package. I guess he was in there for 2 snaps, graded out a 59.8. Smith Marset, 1 snap, 58.2. Daniel Bellinger, 38 snaps. He was 57.7. Now you look here, his pass blocking grade was a 10.4. Not very impressive, although he was only in there for 1 pass blocking snap. But whatever it was not impressive. John Michael Schmitz was in there for obviously all 58 snaps, 57.2. Jalen Hyatt, 11 snaps, 56.3. Greg Dulcich, 8 snaps, 53.7. Greg Van Roten, GVR, all 58 snaps at right guard, 53.5. Eric Gray, 9 snaps, 53. Darius Slayton was in there for 50 snaps, graded at 51.5. Evan Neal, is the aforementioned Evan Neal, right tackle, all 58 snaps, 50.6. His run blocking was good. Right? He's big and strong enough where he can get some movement, obviously, in the run game, but his pass blocking. Now to be fair, the one thing is that if you put him in a phone booth, right, move him in a guard, put him in a phone booth, the guys he's going to be going up against, obviously, at the defensive tackle position are going to be bigger and stronger than the guys on the edge. So he may not work, or it may not be quite as successful in the run blocking game if you move him inside, because the guys are bigger and stronger. But his pass blocking should go up quite a bit, because the guys, the defensive tackles, are just kind of like more or less like maulers. They're just like, straight up and down the field kind of guys. It's kind of like power against power, right? And Evan Neal's got the size and the strength. Hopefully he can stand up against that. His problem just always seems like it's those athletic guys coming around the corner he seems to have problems with. Right? And of course, Drew Lock, Mr. Drew, what was it? 8 pick sixes he threw last week. Drew pick 6 Lock. Obviously was in there for all 58 snaps. 38.6. Very, very impressive. Something, or shall I say, maybe not something you want to see from your quarterback, being the worst graded player on the team. So, but I guess if you start throwing a bunch of pick sixes, I guess that's where your grades might have been. So, but next, the defensive side of the ball. So the defensive grades for the Giants after the Week 16 loss to the Falcons. Once again, it's all according just to PFF. That's all it is. All it is. Right. Doesn't mean that, So it doesn't mean we have to agree with it, but all right, so let's go back to share screen. All right, there we go. All right, now let's switch over to the defensive side. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Boogie Basham. There you go. I never thought I'd ever see the Boogeyman or Toman Fox up at the top. What is going on? Ty Summers, look at this. Boogie, Fox, Summers, and Elijah Garcia, our top-rated guys. Wow, unbelievable. And poor Raheem Lane, unfortunately, man. 22 snaps, graded out pretty well. His tackling was good. His coverage is okay. His run defense okay. 22 snaps and the season's over with. Unbelievable, dude. Absolutely just unfreaking believable. But, all right. Boogie Basham was in there for 22 snaps, 76.9. Toman Fox, 24 snaps and right outside linebacker, 76.2. Ty Summers at middle linebacker, 29 snaps, 75.6. Elijah Garcia, defensive tackle, 21 snaps, 69.1. Kayvon, 44 snaps, 68.2. According to PFF, he had 3 total pressures. That's nice to see. Unfortunately, as I said, Raheem Lane, it's just a freaking shame, man. Absolute shame. I feel bad for these guys. 22 snaps, 67.9, but his season's over with a torn meniscus. Tay Banks, 41 snaps, 67.3. Now, I mean, if you'll notice here, which is not really phenomenal, is that there's our number 1 pick from last season. Now, I'm not exactly sure, but only 41 snaps out of 66 possible snaps. So he played like 2/3 of the snaps. Our number 1 pick from last year. I don't know if he got aggravated an injury or exactly what it was, but that's not something you really want to see. Dane Belton, 60 snaps, graded out of 67. Dory Jackson, 52 snaps, graded out of 64. Darius Muasau, 66 snaps, 63.1. Let me see here. So you have 2 inside linebackers, right? Micah McFadden was just in for 30 snaps. Of course, unfortunately, he's got a neck injury. He graded a 62.9, but Muasau had a total of 8 tackles. So he did good. All right, Jason Pinnock, 55 snaps, graded a 62.4. Andrew Phillips, 65 snaps, graded out of 50. Obviously, he's coming in after being a little bit nicked up, so you're not sure how much that hurt his effectiveness here. But Cordell Flott, 41 snaps. Once again, he missed some time as well too. 41 snaps, 49.9. Nacho was 34 snaps, graded at 47.3. Corey Durden, 24 snaps, graded at 38.8. Brian Bernsey, once again, this guy's just been, battling one injury after the other. He was 44 snaps, graded out of 33. Elijah Chapman, 32 snaps, graded out of 29. And Jordan Riley, right, graded at 31 snaps, graded out of 28.2. But I mean, you see some of this here, right? I mean, this is one of the things I was talking about, like in the first portion of our program, right? Winning in the trenches. Now you notice there a defensive tackle, another defensive tackle, our outside linebacker, our nose tackle, another defensive tackle, right? I mean, these guys here, right, all graded out the worst for the Giants. The bottom 5 grades were all guys on the defensive line, right? As I said, it's not not what you want to do. I mean, obviously, you want to win both sides of the ball, and weren't getting any sacks. One of the best things you can do when you're going up against a rookie quarterback is pressure him, right? Make him think faster than he has to. Make quick decisions, right? Make an errant throw, right? Maybe get a pick 6 or something, interception, anything, right? That's one of the things you can do is rattle a rookie quarterback. His first time starting, right? Go in there and pressure him. Whatever the sacks, right? It's horrible. All right, so finally, all right, there we go. Finish up with our special teams portion of the program. Let's see what we got here for our special teams. Now, usually you have like at least 30 players on special teams, and a lot of them are graded out right around the 60 mark. That's just the way it seems to be. A lot of them grade out around 60. All right, so let's once again share the screen here. All right, we'll go to the special teams. All right. Who we got here? Okay, here we go. Casey Crider. All right. Long snap. He graded out of 72.2. What do we got here? Usually it's 30-something. Oh, there's only 29 guys. Okay. Usually it's like 30, 31, 32. But only had 29 guys on special teams. All right. So Casey Crider, he was our number 1 guy. graded at 72.2. Daniel Bellinger, 71.7. Bryce Ford Wheaton was in there for 23 special team snaps, 70.4. And of course, obviously a lot of these guys want kickoff, kick coverage, punt coverage, right? Field goal, and all that stuff and everything. Right? Of course, the only field goal kicking we had was the one extra point. That's all we had, right? Dane Belton was in there for 14 snaps. He graded at 69.7. Art Green, 23 snaps, 64.7. Isaiah Simmons was in there for just 4 snaps. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if they just gave up on him. I mean, he's 4 special team snaps and no defensive snaps. I mean, is he really that? I mean, why do we bring this guy in? Why do we bring him back if he's not going to? I mean, I don't know. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. We're bringing these guys back and we don't even play them on defense anymore. Can't find nothing for the guy. 4 snaps, Isaiah Simmons. The number, I think number pick 8 in the draft a few years ago. All we can find on the field for him is 4 snaps. Wow. Rated out of 61.8. Eric Gray, 9 snaps, 60.6. Anthony Johnson. This is the portion of the program where you get a bunch of guys at 60. I mean, look at all the guys at 60. You go from number, all the way, right? All of these guys here. So you got Darius Muasau, Raheem Lane, Anthony Johnson Jr., Evan Neal, Jake Kubas, Greg Dulcich, Joshua Zudu, the Hammer, Jamie Gillian, Smith Marset, Tyree Phillips. Good to have him back on the team. Good to have him back. Hopefully he'll be around next season. That would be fantastic. Boogie Basham. I mean, look, a lot of these guys hardly played any snaps too. Jermaine Illuminor was in there for 1 snap. Greg Van Rote was in there for 1 snap. Graham Gano was in there for 3 snaps, right? He had, the 1 extra point try and the 2 kickoffs. The 1 kickoff to start the half and the 1 kickoff after the touchdown. And, of course, the 1 kickoff, the one kick on the extra point. He just had 3 snaps. He graded out of 60. And you got the rest of the team was, see, Elijah Chapman, 7 snaps. He graded at 59.7. Elijah Garcia, 7 snaps, 59.4. Matthew Adams, 23 snaps, 59. Corey Durden, 7 snaps, 58.9. Jordan Riley, 7 snaps, 58.9. Ty Summers, 22 snaps, 58.8. Toman Fox, 23 snaps, 58.4. Chris Manhertz rounds things up. And obviously, Manhertz had graded out really well on the offense, but he run the special teams. He was the low man on the totem pole. He had 13 overall special team snaps and graded out at a 56.7. But usually, like I said, like on special teams, you got a lot of guys, for whatever reason, right around that seems like the PFF, that's the grades that they dish out on the special teams, a lot of 60s. So, but that pretty much wraps up that. So I'll be back again, and we'll go over the upcoming battle with the Colts. And just don't forget, right? Any given Sunday, anything can happen, right? If we wind up losing, this week, from the Colts offensive side, it might be because they were able to control the line of scrimmage and run the ball. I don't know if Anthony Richardson's going to be able to pick us apart with his passing, right? And especially if the guy decides to tap out like he did, whatever it was, however many weeks ago that was. I couldn't believe I saw that. I'm sorry, buddy. But any given Sunday, anything is possible in the NFL. So don't forget that. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 14 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.